What's up, fuckers?
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. What was that? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Max and I have deadlifts today. I think I mentioned. Give me that fucking squeaker.
I think we should restart this.
No, one take wonder. So Max and I have deadlifts today. We started training deadlifts like together as training partners. First time we've done anything like that in quite some time. Last week was good. Got in some really good training. I don't think either of us has anything too exciting today, but we're gonna do the video format where we bounce back and forth between the clips of the actual training and then talk to the camera, kind of explaining what we're doing, whatever else. So right now, Max is warming up. Max has a couple sets of purely technique squats, just greasing the groove. That way he still gets the technical benefits of squatting twice a week while only pushing the heavy stimulus of squats once a week, which we hope is going to yield him a little bit extra recovery, but without any negative impacts on his technique for his meet coming up in June. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas? As mentioned, I lied. Max and I forgot to talk to the camera between the sets, so you're getting a super cool voiceover from little old me. As I mentioned in that little preamble, Max is doing, to warm up, some purely technical squats, between 5 and 8 sets of 2. Just that way he gets that many more walkouts and setups, so that way he can be at his technical best by the end of this meet prep and maintain his 2x squat frequency as far as skill acquisition, but not necessarily as far as fatigue, because we saw it fit to drop him to a 1x squat for this training cycle. He is moving from an 8-day microcycle to a 7-day microcycle, so the added frequency just becomes slightly less viable, and it makes it a lot easier to line it up with the meet. Here is my extremely handsome dog, Ode. He was in there harassing us through the whole workout. He always is just coming up and like nuzzling his head against you, which makes it very hard to get hyped up because he's such a cutie. There's Max, pulling an all-time deadlift PR, as you can see. Working our way up, I believe Max has 3 work sets at 535 pounds, so quite light for him. I believe he is on, this week is the first week of his training cycle, prepping for the meet, so should be about 63%. We are actually programming off of our goal for his meet of 800 pounds, so something like that. I think that works out. Maybe it's a slightly lesser number that we're working off of, but works out to be about 63%. He's got 3 work sets. Officially, we call it 3 work sets at 3 reps in reserve, but the first 2 sets are more than 3 reps in reserve to calibrate the final set and accrue additional volume, work out any technical misgivings for the day, and be ready to execute that top set as well as he can. So I think those first 2 sets, I think he'll probably take 535 for a set of 5, a set of 6, and then try to aim more in the ballpark of the 3 RIR towards the end. When you get extremely large and extremely strong like Max does, the proximities to failure that you have to reach for a set to be effective moves away. So sometimes he will finish the set with more than 3 reps in reserve to drill a good pattern. And that's not to say that you don't have to train hard once you're big and strong. It's that the way that looks might be a little different. Warming up and squatting any large weight for Max is inherently more taxing than the same percentage for someone who's moving less total tonnage, but then also using that energy he saved on his main work with the reps in reserve early in a training cycle that we like to keep. All that is more energy to put into working hard on our accessories. So warm-ups are going fine. I'm sure you've noticed that Max will generally pause all of his warm-ups up till his last warm-up, just to reinforce good positions halfway through, make sure he's not fudging his positions in the pursuit of bar speed rather than focusing on maintaining strong positions throughout. Here was my top set. Really unhappy with this, but it is what it is. I believe this is 655 pounds for a set of 3. Really not my best work, but it is what it is. A little tired from a heavy squat set earlier this week, so I have a concrete explanation. Doesn't mean anything necessarily needs to change. Overreacting to a singular bad session is a rookie mistake that I believe I have at least somewhat gotten away from. I think this was Max's set where he was aiming for 3 reps in reserve. As you can see, he probably had more than 3 RIR, but we try to keep technique in mind. So it's 3 reps within the range of form that a lifter at his level should have. In reserve, he hits a hold at the end. We've just made it a common practice anytime Max is preparing for a meet to hit a 5-count hold at the end of every single work set, basically to over-prepare our grip and make sure that we don't miss on for what is ultimately a silly reason that we could have prepared for. Did some rollouts. I have to do a whole lot of kneeling rollouts for them to be effective. So you see, I often will do just those bottom end partials, mostly just because it makes it harder and it makes it so I can get to my set of 40 a little bit quicker. Moved on to RDLs out of the rack. Both Max and I are doing these without lockouts, mostly just as a trial. I've had good luck with these. I said, hey, Max, join me for the next couple of days and just see how those go. I worked up to a set of 10 here at 385 pounds off the deficit. Felt pretty good. Probably will do 12 next week and then add some more weight to the bar the following week. We kept the weights relatively light, reps a little bit higher, as this is a hypertrophy focused slot within our training program. Max, I think, worked up to a set of 13 at 365. I'm a little bit ahead of him on these, so I think that's just been some added motivation to bust ass and get better at them, which, you know, will only help our goal of getting to that 800-pound deadlift before the age of 20. I think he's definitely on pace for it right now, so it just comes into, you know, him eating his food, him getting his sleep, and continuing to train as hard as he has been. So we got in these tough, we worked our way up, pyramided up with some volume to these tough sets of the RDLs. Max really gave it his all on this one because he wasn't sure how many reps he had. And then after this, we moved on to some rows. So you might notice some interesting things about the rows here. Mine look, I guess, relatively like traditional barbell rows. Historically, I've always been more bent over than this. I always was one of those guys on the internet who'd be like, man, these IFBB pros suck. They should be more parallel with the floor. It's harder that way, yada, yada, yada. Eventually, I just found that for myself, I build my deadlift better with the low point being, you know, bottom of the kneecap area. I got better results by doing them that way. Max is doing kind of a true Yates style row, so staying very upright. It's not ego lifting. I promise you, Max could do a lot more weight on a true like bent all the way over row, but just wanted to give our defenses on the rows because people love to complain about those. And then here's Max failing to get into a GHD. Thank you for watching.